Hello, everybody. Although I would have liked very much to be there with you today, unfortunately, for a number of reasons, I could not make it. I'm very sorry for this. And in any case, I would like to thank my colleagues at IRID for giving me the opportunity to make this video presentation. As a testimony, at least, of our spiritual presence there with you today. Honorable Secretary Alcala, distinguished Dr. Protasio and Dr. Jacqueline Hughes, and distinguished participants and colleagues. The purpose of this presentation today is to discuss a little bit what we see as the emerging challenges for the rural sector in Asia and the implications for the rice economy more broadly, and more particularly the challenges that all of this implies for the unfavorable rice environments in Asia. To address these issues, I will first of all focus on some key aspects of what we refer to as the structural transformation of the agricultural and rural sector in Asia, the dietary transformations that are taking place, and the implication that this has also from the perspective of the global demand for rice, what the supply chain and retail revolution are implying for the future of rice farmers, and the implications of the increasing natural resource degradation and the pressure on ecosystem services. All of this is to better frame what we see as the role of the strategic role of CURE and what the future holds for the program. With regard to the structural transformation, the key points that need to be considered are the following. First of all, in almost across all of Asia, the disparities between rural and urban incomes are increasing. And in some countries, it has reached quite a significant level. And although we see in these more advanced countries these gaps reducing, they are bound to increase almost everywhere in the region. Second, the fragmentation of the farm sector has been increasing across the region. Although we do see some initial signs of a slowdown or even a reversal in some countries, most of the countries in Asia are being affected by increasingly small farms. Thirdly, migration out of rural areas towards urban areas and out of agriculture has increased, but it will inevitably intensify as the land markets and the land institutions will adjust to facilitate a more land transaction and address the problem of farm fragmentation, and mechanized services will become increasingly available to smallholders. Very important point, rural wages have been increasing across in most of Asian countries during the past 10 years. And this dynamic is not going to be reversed in the near future. This poses challenges for the competitiveness of smallholders in the near and medium term. Increasing integration of Asian economies in the trade of goods and financial services will make it increasingly more difficult to continue the protection of the agricultural sector as it has happened until now. Particularly in view of the fact that agriculture increasingly represents a smaller share of GDP of Asian countries. All of this amounts to a major challenge, which is basically the one to raise the productivity of labor on small farms. When we look at the dietary transformation and what is going to be the likely trend in the global demand for rice, we notice the following. Diversification of food consumption towards horticulture products, dairy, meat, wheat, and so forth is increasing. Now, while this implies that in some countries the consumption of rice will start a process of declining, It is also true that at the same time, the increased affluence in many countries that have witnessed a high level of poverty in the recent past will also imply a diversification away from maize and traditional staples towards an increasing consumption of rice. So while we see the per capita consumption of rice in Asia reaching a point of stagnation perhaps, there is ample space for an overall increasing demand of rice, driven by increased consumption in other parts of the world and also because of population growth. This poses a challenge for the rice economy. With limited land for rice cultivation, keeping in mind also the pressure from land conversion towards urbanization and other commercial uses, the productivity of rice, the rice yields will need to increase between 1.2 to 1.5% per year to keep up with increasing global demand. Hence, the years ahead, the decade or 2 decades ahead, will be particularly challenging for the rice economy, particularly in view of the recent experience in terms of a slowdown in the growth of rice yields. Supply chain and retail revolution. This has been a major change in Asia, with supermarkets and more modern retail services entering the food economy, not only in the in the largest urban areas, but increasingly also in the mid-sized cities. This is changing the way food is being procured across the value chains in Asia. Traditional intermediaries have been put under pressure. Village traders, local collectors, and so forth are increasingly finding it difficult to be on this on a much more competitive market, and are being replaced by dedicated wholesalers or direct procurement systems from supermarkets. The affluence that has characterized, increasing affluence that has characterized Asian societies during the past decade is also being translated in a more sophisticated demand for food by consumers in the middle class, in the growing middle class. This entails that also for products like rice, there will be an increasing opportunity to invest in improved quality, in packaging, labeling, certification, and so forth. The increased efficiency also that is characterizing the newer value chains also opens up opportunities for reducing the loss of products, and also this includes also the case of rice at the level of post-harvest. So challenge number 3 is for smallholders, and here we are thinking particularly of women and younger farmers that will be the backbone of the farm economy in the near future, to be actually included in these more dynamic and modern value chains. Now, looking at natural resource degradation and pressure on ecosystem services, we see a number of of trends that are of concern. One is water for agriculture. It is becoming increasingly scarce, particularly in South Asia, but also in many other areas of Southeast Asia. Deforestation has advanced at a very fast pace in Southeast Asia, is having implications for what concerns the provision of biodiversity services, or by services related to biodiversity, and the functioning of watersheds. Why is this important? Because there is more and more the pressure to open up lands for food production out of the traditional areas, and perhaps Indonesia could be an example in this case. Land and soil degradation are becoming also a concern due to increasing cropping intensity and the substantial increase in the use of agrochemicals, which is leading to loss of fertility in soils and rising cost for farmers. Pollution of waterways and groundwater aquifers are also a major concern, again driven by a very intensive use of fertilizers. So challenge number 4 is to improve the productivity of land and water in addition to the productivity of labor, and in doing so also keeping into account or accounting for the provision of ecosystem services that are associated with the natural resources that are included in production. So what does all of this mean in terms of implications for Asia's rice economy, and particularly for unfavorable rice environments? First, the sustainable intensification of the rice production will be a major point of strategic direction to focus our attention and resources on. Increase the productivity, sustainability of rice production, and foster adaptation to climate change will be two critical areas for policy and investments. Second, there is the need to reduce environmental impact and footprint of rice production, and here identification and adoption of suitable production practices is of paramount importance. There will be the need also to increase or invest in improving the productive capacity of rice farmers, as I was referring to before, including youth and women. Will be the need to invest on new skills. And the main reason for this is that because of the increasingly sophisticated technology and production practices that will become necessary in the near future, new skills will be needed in order to address the current gap and investments in this area will become critical. There will be also the need to enhance value chains by improving food quality, diversity, food safety, and pursuing opportunities for certification, while also at the same time investing on the reduction of post-harvest losses. So why investing in unfavorable rice environments is so critical? First of all, unfavorable rice environments are actually expanding as a result of the increasing changes in climate that we are witnessing, represented by more intense and frequent El Niño phenomenon, typhoons that are affecting some of the Southeast Asian countries more than others, and saltwater intrusion in the key deltas where we find the world's rice bowls. So the demand for site-specific technology and best management practices will continue to rise. Second, as we said, sustainable intensification of rice production is actually a strategic area. But we need to take into account the fact that while favorable rice environments will continue to continue to be the main sources of rice for the future, they are actually facing a number of challenges. Diversification of production in agriculture is reducing the amount of land that will be dedicated to rice. There are competing uses for land. These competing uses of land also originate from an expanding urban sector. Therefore, favorable or lands in favorable environments will not be able to grow and actually will be shrinking in the near future. So we need to make the best use of unfavorable or lands under unfavorable environments. Secondly, opportunities for win-win solutions in favorable environments, meaning where we are able on one side to increase yields and on the other hand to make less of an impact on natural resources, could become harder, and there is the risk that we will not be able to achieve those gains that we are currently hoping to achieve. Third point, technology options and best management practices demonstrated by CURE and Strasa are increasing the returns from investment in management skills of marginal farmers, and particularly women, youth, indigenous population, and farmers anyways located in what are unfavorable environments, which are also poor areas. Thirdly, there is ample potential for including the private sector in the effort to scale up the dissemination of new varieties of rice that are being developed under the CURE, but also to strengthen our investments on community-based approaches to seed multiplication. So, in view of all the above, IFAD is decidedly supportive of the effort being done through the CURE program. And we are actually hopeful to see the program move towards achieving its objectives and actually entering into a scaling up phase that will go beyond the current one. So what could be the next steps for CURE? And here are just a few suggestions. Number one, while the breeding of new varieties and the demonstration of best management practices should remain the core of the existing program, more could be done in terms of documenting and demonstrating the returns from investments in breeding and in the adoption of the best management practices promoted by the CURE. The progress report that was recently sent to me shows that a number of achievements have been made in terms of identifying best management practices that improve the income of farmers quite significantly. But we need to bring this evidence more systematically to the attention of policymakers for their planning activities. Second, it is clear that since last year, there has been quite a lot of progress in terms of favoring or supporting the scaling up of the CURE through government programs and systems. But I get also the sense that more could be done in terms of investing in analytical work that could actually demonstrate the impact of bringing the technologies developed under the CURE and the best management practice that are being promoted by the program to scale. And this could raise further the attention of policymakers and convince that there is a need of actually increasing the investments that are being done in supporting the rice sector in unfavorable environments. Third point, there is a need to increase the support and ownership of the CURE program by national governments. This should be a key goal and final objective of the program. In that really lies the proof that the program has been successful in terms of demonstrating the potential that the unfavorable rice environments actually have. This needs to be translated into an increasingly commitment by the governments in the region to actually support and scale up the CURE program. In this regard, investment, for example, through the national extension systems to disseminate the innovations and the technology generated under the CURE could be a very interesting first step. So altogether, IFAD remains very much committed to support the advances made by the CURE and in supporting the achievement of its original goals. The potential to link the program with IFAD's country programs and projects is significant, and we remain committed to make sure that this happens. And in fact, actually, I must say that I'm very pleased to see that a lot has been made during the past year. There is a lot of work that we can do together, and I am very much looking forward to support your hard work and the progress that you are making. So with these words, I'll close this presentation, and I'll wish you a very fruitful discussion for the next 3 days ahead of you. All the best, and let's remain in touch. Please, for any question, feel free to contact me. Thanks. Bye-bye.